Yes, word to the wise here. Before I even get into this video, be aware this is likely going to irk a whole lot of people, seeing as I'm going to defend and or denigrate some things people in the West might find valuable, but as is the case, I don't care and I apologize for nothing. And if you have any sense at all, and you're not driven by emotion like a female, you will agree with me, because I aim to make sense. And yes, I'm saying if you don't agree with me, you are a girl. Look at this post by Loomer. Now, Loomer, Trump cheerleader, America Firster, apparently also a proud member of Team J, which tends to rub some people the wrong way. Hey, that rhymed. Very critical of Ron DeSantis, which is rather strange, seeing as Ron DeSantis has broken his back, borderline became a damn contortionist for that particular group. Why do you think the Daily Wire has been practically filleting the guy? It's not his economic policies, I can assure you. Now, look at this tweet. Hezbollah has been banned, now ban Hamas. Now, how do you react to this, given your particular political persuasion? Even if I myself am on that thread saying, yes, banning is horrible, unless they ban people that you don't like, in which case you're all in favor of it. And there's some tweets calling around for censorship, free speech, absolutism, etc., all the things right-wingers are supposed to care about, and if you don't, you're some kind of unprincipled hypocrite and or sellout, so on and so forth. So, is Laura a sellout or a hypocrite? No, she's right. In fact, she should be far more aggressive. Now, I imagine there might be a fair few of you going, I don't like where this is going. Yes, you will, trust me, you'll be fine. So, I'm going to ask that you all do something that might be a tad challenging. I want you all to remove all ideas and concepts centered around the current day's political paradigm. So, forget democracy, forget republicanism, forget left versus right, conservative versus liberal, Democrat versus Republican. All of that is rubbish. We're only concerned here with raw power. Any entity or structure that's needing or hoping to go on the offensive or the defensive is going to harness power for its own ends. For good or ill will, doesn't matter either way. And this is something that the right does not understand because it is obsessed with principles. This will be a tough pill to swallow, but if your principles cause you to lose over and over again, your principles suck, drop them, they're useless. This is not a fight of honor. There is no dignity in being a gracious loser. This is kill or be killed. You're either predator or prey, and that's all. Without any power through which to enact on your principles, they're not a boon, they're a handicap. You don't negotiate or cede ground to someone who wants to topple your reign. Heaven's sake, negotiation or meeting in the middle with these cretins is like being mugged for all of your money, but on your day in court the judge tells you to fork over half the contents of your wallet anyway. You still lost even if they only took a quid. You know the quote by Frank Herbert in Children of Dune? When I'm weaker than you, I ask for freedom because that is according to your principles. When I'm stronger than you, I take away your freedom because that is according to my principles. This is how your enemies operate. They don't even have any principles. All they care about is raw power. Do you think they actually care about these rainbow hippies and all of this pro-feminism crap? Hell no. It is because it's the power signal of the regime and they're a bunch of magnets, and that's it. And so you'll have these legions of the mindless who just gravitate towards the current thing and update their social media profiles like drones. It's formulaic behavior. This is why I said Emma Wageland from Majority Report would be a staunch Nazi if you put her in the Third Reich, because she's nothing more than a parasite that leeches off power. Look at Cenk from the Young Turks, for example. He has no power at all. He has no connection to the regime. He's in no position to influence anyone in power. But his entire business model is predicated on following the progressive cause of the regime. And so he does. But he can't steer the vessel. He's basically a monkey trapped on the ship. That's it. It's why he appears completely insane when you press him on how stupidly contradictory his worldview really is. Something people need to understand. A few of your so-called freedoms are really ultimately some form of expression of power, and the power can be abused, and this is always an unstable balance. I'll give an example. Take free speech. Now, people think free speech is some holy righteous tool, when that isn't being used for shitposting, that is, and even then it can be weaponized for the cause, that is used to speak truth to power in a way that might threaten the regime. But is this actually the case? No, because you're not animating coordinated behavior in a way that a general commands an army. There may be an arming, sure, but it's lacking the animation. The other thing to keep in mind as well, the power of this freedom depends on the utility and the concentration of its use and users. Think of weaponry. Let's say you favor weaponry because you deem it useful to protect yourself. This might be objectively true, but if your enemies seek to arm themselves to slaughter you in mass, then you favoring the weaponry is an exploitable weakness. You will notice a lot of people only think as far as their own person, but start applying that to the collective, you'll realize just how out to lunch a lot of content creators really are. Principle perhaps, yes, but they're high out of their minds disconnected with reality. Hell, half of the libertarians talk like they want to live in the Shire, potentially surrounded by messed up hordes of Urukai. Good luck with that one, chaps. But you can apply the same thing to free speech. You think it provides you with the capacity to speak truth to power, the same way you believe voting provides you with the power to interface with the state, or that guns can be used to defend yourself against the regime. But is this really the case? No. The free speech is harnessed by your enemies in the exact same way as in that Frank Herbert quote. What is speech really? It's information, capacity to influence, and that's all it is for our purposes. But keep in mind, you believe free speech works in this very binary kind of way. People exposed to information will change their minds. Well, that's how it's sold to us anyway. But this is not how humans work. Most people are not swayed by raw information because we're not machines. People are persuaded by their emotions because they're cringe and gay. Well, at least half of them are, but anyway. Imagine you were the king of some land. Would you tolerate communists in your nation? If you had any sense at all, no, because they're not there to do something objectively good. They're a threat to your reign. Their ideas are terrible, and they will bring a great harm and suffering to your people. So how heavy will be the iron fist you wield? Full Augusto Pinochet? Because I imagine there's a fair few of you who would. Why? Because you know what will happen if you don't, so you will weaponize as much power as you deem necessary to defend the realm because you know your cause is righteous. It doesn't matter how you wield, all that matters is why you wield your power. Don't make the mistake of thinking your enemies care about any of your principles. They don't intend to coexist with you peacefully, and if there is an opening in your regime for them to infiltrate and exploit, they will use it. So don't bother with the stupid mentality of, well, we don't want to use power this way, it might set a bad precedent. For who exactly? They're going to do it anyway. They don't consider you people, you're an obstacle. Why on earth would you ever give someone freedom who would never reciprocate it? It makes no sense. Again, this fight is not one of honor. If your enemies show up to a bare-knuckle fight and sneak in a knife or a pair of brass knuckles, you showing up with a gun is not fighting dirty, it's just leveling the playing field, or better yet, besting them at their own game. So what you're looking for is not someone that won't be corrupted by power, because that's absurd and unrealistic. Corruption is part and parcel of the human condition. It's to be managed, not removed. What really moves humans is incentives. What you're looking for is one that can wield the sword with a sense of morality and righteousness, one that can ultimately bear the weight of the crown. Cheers, and once again, I apologize for nothing.